Greetings friends, it's Zera, back with another video. Today is going to be a bit more of a topic rant, so buckle up, because it's about to get bumpy. Let's roll that intro. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is going to be a bit of a rant video. This issue has been bubbling over for a few months, and it really has its origins with the founding of my guild. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my guild. The GM, the officers, they're daily seeking out ways to improve, guild interaction, the overall community amongst the members. Unfortunately, it does have its setbacks, most of which, have, again, in the origin, the legacy individuals, people who have had their position since the very beginning, and they've held them for virtually no other reason than I was here first mentality. Such is the case with our Hunter class leader. He never played Hunter in vanilla, and he is lacking knowledge in nearly every facet of how to achieve this class's full potential. Let's start with his attitude, though. As a class leader, you should be an approachable individual, able and willing to speak to new members of your class that are coming into the guild, and you answer questions in a succinct manner. Sadly, this was not his approach. Most of the hunters who have joined our guild since Classic's launch have either left or simply refused to speak to him. Some have gone so far as to mute him in Discord outright. And when it comes to the topic of loot, this guy is incapable of shutting his mouth. Countless times he's spoken out just abruptly and shouted, "This item is Hunter Bis," when in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, on Ragnaros, the Crown of Destruction dropped, and the remainder of Loot Council was looking for confirmation from me as Loot Council representative for Hunters and asked me if it was Hunter priority. And this guy just cuts me off in the middle of the raid, hijacks the entire question, and it not only made him look bad to do so, but it undermined my authority as a member of Loot Council. Now, simply put, this guy has a poor attitude, and many of the newest hunters in the guild have already written him off as an individual they no longer care to deal with on any level whatsoever. Some have gone so far as to nominate me as his replacement, which, it may occur soon, given some personal issues he's had come up recently, thus preventing him from being in this raid coming up this week with MC and Oni, which brings me to the purpose for this video. Really, within the last few weeks, I have been instructed to speak to him as a Loot Council member. The purpose of the discussion was to really understand his thought process in the gear that he was aiming to obtain moving into Phase 3. Because, and I mean this in the politest way possible, damn, this guy's forecasted Phase 3 Bis was so ungodly terrible. I mean, it was an unmitigated disaster. I almost threw up because I was laughing so hard when I saw this. So after briefly going over some bullet points with other Loot Council members, I sought out to uncover the reasoning behind his madness. It turns out that his so-called personal research informed him that any of our 8-piece set bonuses from any of our tier sets is no good at all. I'm not even going to begin to entertain the falseness in that statement. Next, he claims that, the pieces that he chose were done so because he couldn't obtain any more higher crit rating than from these pieces of gear. And as you'll soon see, this is also an untrue statement. I mean, even after I introduced him to various guides, PowerPoints, graphs, videos, forum posts, and yes, God forbid, parses of the current version of Classic, he still refused to see and listen to reason. So, by the end of this conversation, I was so frustrated that I simply just asked him, what the hell is it going to take to make you understand? And I'm going to tell you what, I was not prepared for the answer that he gave me at all. You see, in his mind, he was not responsible to anyone in Loot Council, officers, or otherwise regarding what gear he wanted. Because his parses were, higher than every other hunter's. So, in summary, he believes that parses are gospel and that they should be the metric that we always use to dictate whether someone is fit to question only his motives. Talk about an ego. The sad thing is that we're still in the initial raids of Classic. I mean, these raids are in no way difficult to overcome. And he's still trying to brag about parsing at the top of the meters. As a hunter, parsing at the top of the meters. As the conversation began to wear on, I began to note some key factors. First, he's been running with raid talents this entire time. As for me, I've only been using my gold farming talents that you guys saw in the previous video, so be sure to check that out up here. I've been running that since month 1. And what's even worse is that I have either performed evenly with him, or I've even outperformed him on numerous occasions. Almost makes me cry myself to sleep at night when I picture this guy wearing more tier 1 pieces than myself, and yet makes these outlandish statements like buffing multi-shots damage is pointless. Oh man. I tell you, some people just don't know when to admit they're wrong. Even in the face of irrefutable empirical data, he still refuses to see the light of day. So, here's what's going to happen. Or rather, this is what was going to happen. I was going to go into Wednesday's raid with every conceivable advantage and dominate him from beginning to end. And then last night happened and will no longer be joining us. He will no longer be joining us for the foreseeable future. And I believe there's enough against him to suspend his role as Hunter class leader and bury his actions next to his parses, 6 feet beneath mine. Speaking of what to bury your procrastination today with SkillShare. This online platform allows you to hone your skills into a variety of industries and master them at your leisure. Check out the link below to start your first 2 months for free. It'll support the channel and give you a chance to learn a new skill. And I call that a win. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, please hit the dislike button and let me know down in the comments what I could have done better. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash that notification bell for updates when new content is uploaded here every week. As always, I love you guys. Stay kind to one another, and I'll see you in the next video. Zera out.